Hi, Trim Malcolm here with the Burning Tree Productions. How are you guys? Today I'm going to attempt to show you guys how to put a liner in, and I use a cloth liner, so I guess fabric cloth, and I'll cut this to fit inside of here, and then I'll glue it onto the wood, and then I'll glue the box together and put it together. So I'm going to try and attempt to, to show you how to do this. There's so many different ways that you can make these boxes look nice. One is flocking. I have a video of flocking the boxes. The only problem with flocking is that it takes a little while. You have to put the glue on or the paint on or whatever it is, and then you flock the box. You got to leave it overnight. This process takes minutes. I say minutes, that means half an hour. I don't know. Anyway, it takes a little while to do it, but it's not as long. You don't have to leave it overnight. You just have to sit there and glue it together, put it together, then let it dry. But it's ready. It's ready to be able to do it. Flocking, you have to be careful when you're doing the corners. If you don't come all the way up on the edges, or you have to bring your piece of wood out, flock that piece of wood, wait 24 hours for it to dry, then put it together, and then you can do whatever you want with it. So, like I said, I'm going to attempt to show you how to do this. And I've got a big old mess here, but that's just normal with me. So if you notice, I've got a lacquered top. So when I put these boxes together, I sprayed everything so I didn't have to respray it. And that way I knew that this was going to be the bottom. When I flip it over, it'll be covered and the lacquer will be on the bottom. So you want to take and you want to give it, I use just regular wood glue to glue this down. And I don't want to glue that yet, but I'll just take and I'll figure out where my edge is. Move all my junk out of the way. Take this and I'm gonna bring that in just a little bit right there. I don't know if I can zoom in on this or not. Doesn't look like I can. See, that's what I said. You can see all my mess here. Take this and you just line it up. So I've done it so many different ways. I've done it where I've taken a knife and tried to cut it, or even one of those little rolling things and cut it. I've taken a ruler and cut it. This time I'm just doing it this way, and I think that it seems to be pretty easy. So I just line it up with my wood all the way around, and then I'll just take a marker and I'll mark where that is got to go. Just like that. Okay, so there's my outline. And I'm a squirrel kind of guy. What I mean by that is I'll be doing something and I'm like, oh, a squirrel. But I'm trying not to be a squirrel on this video. So then you just cut the line that you marked. Right. course, you want some sharp scissors. I don't know if these are sharp or not, but they're cutting okay. Okay, flip it around. And those aren't snot rags, those are glue. I use them to wipe on my glue. Just so you guys know. So, almost there. Okay. So now, we've got the piece. Just make sure that we cut it so it's going to fit, right? Fit on there really good, all that. Okay. So then we just take some glue, and I use a brush, and I just take the glue bottle and I go like this, and you don't want to put too much on there, but you want to have enough. So that's it's kind of a trick to do that. But I just, like I said, it's just regular wood glue. And I find the edges. And this is, glue will seal the wood. So I'm just trying to go back and forth and make sure that I got glue on every bit of my piece of wood. Notice that I'm going to be a little dry over here, so I'll add just a little bit more wood or glue to it, just so I can make sure that I have enough glue to glue on the fabric, right? I just clean it up a little bit. Make sure that it's really good and clean. Okay, clean off my brush. I'll just dip it in the water. And then I'll take, and I'll just put it on there, place it on there like that. Kind of square it up on all the edges. Actually, I have a little bit of an overhang, but I don't know if this one's going to have one. And a little bit right there. So, we just clean it up, then we just straighten it out, just like this. And you don't really have to worry about, like right there where it's, you can see the glue coming through. It's fine. You can either take a little bit of water and just kind of clean it up like that, and it'll help it stick. And you just kind of want to smooth it out. Then you take your box, and see, now, if this was flocking, you would have to sit there and take and let that dry. You'd put your acrylic paint on or whatever it is that they use, and then you just flock it, and then you'd have to let it dry for a day, 24 hours before you could put it in your box. But the way I've done this, now you can do it with any fabric you want, you know, so you can, any color you would love to do, you can do. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue my box together. So, and I put a lot of glue on this. Only because I want my corners, I want to make sure they're glued together. The ones I should wait on, you always get ideas when you're doing stuff, is these edges, because you're in the middle of it. I gotta wipe off my glue spreader, my paintbrush. How many of you guys come up with ideas when you're doing things? You know, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can do it that way, and it makes it a little easier. So usually I don't get this much glue on my sides, but I did put quite a bit of glue on there. And it doesn't really matter, because once I fold it, I'll have glue coming out of the sides. So you got. I just take this brush just to kind of thin it out, but also to make sure that I've got it everywhere. That I got it on all pieces, and that it's, you know, got enough on it. And there's times that I'll have it glued together, and all the rest of the corners will glue really, really good. And like everything in between is great. But these edges, they tend to not want to glue as good. So then you just take your piece like this. Make sure that, you know, if you have fabric edges or ends or whatever sticking up a little bit, you just want to make sure they're kind of tucked inside your groove. Glue it together. And then you take your clamps, aka tape, and you take and you clamp it together. And our hand was in the way. So I'll adjust this so I know that it's level, and on that one I could feel that it was down a little less level on the feet or the bottom of this. So you want to try and get all your corners and edges and everything so they have more level on it. Make sure that all my corners are glued. So if you look in this box, you can see right here I've got all this glue. I'm trying to get a better picture of it, but even on this side you can see it, the glue is sticking up. Okay, so I'll just take my brush and I'll go through and I'll clean it up with that. So I'll just take this, get the water off of it, because I have a cup that I use to put the water in, or to put water in, and then I just take my brush and I just kind of go like this inside on those edges. And then I'll take just, a paper towel, and I'll just go through and just kind of wipe it off like that. Go through here. And I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Hoping you can. But after I'm done, I'll show you the end effects on it. I hope my big head's not in the way. On this side, I'm starting to see that it's dripping a little too much, and I don't really want it on my fabric. So again, the squirrel thing, so I don't know if it's just all artists or all people that like to do this stuff are squirrels. We're like, oh, squirrel, but I definitely know that I guess the ADHD, I don't know what it is, but I go from talking about a box to talking about glue to talking about, oh, I see a spot right there where it's dripping or whatever. So I try to keep it down to a minimum, but I know that I'm not completely good. So last but not least, come in here. So basically, I'm going to just kind of show you. Wipe off my... I'm going to show you. So you can see that line right there. I'll just take my brush and I'll go right there like that. And it just gets rid of that excess glue. And then I don't want to have a bunch of water on there, but just enough to kind of wipe it off. And then I'll come through and I'll wipe it like that. So when you see this bottom now, those edges that we were talking about, they're pretty clean now. Okay, so then I'll flip it over. And one of the things is try and make sure that you got your bottoms lined up, your bottom pieces lined up. So you don't want it to really be off center. And then you usually have just a little bit of glue right here in the corners down here. I take my fingernail because if I have a fingernail, but this time I do, but I'll just take a fingernail and just kind of clean those corners out. Just kind of clean them up. You just want to get as much of that glue off of there, because glue is really, especially wood glue. I use Titebond 3, but it just seems to be, it's like I said earlier, it seals the wood and it'll suck up into that wood, and then it's harder to clean it up. So that's why I try to get it when it's wet, just to kind of do it. So again, that was the varnished bottom. And then once this box is ready, I'll spray the outside of it. I've still got to do my splines in for my miter joint. But basically, that is, I mean, but this box now, you know, it's put together. So now you don't have to wait for that, or you don't have to do this later, or, you know. And what I love about it is you can go down to the fabric store and get any color fabric you want. If you just want to go black with fabric, you know, that's fine. If you want to have white fabric, you put white fabric on there. You want to do purple, pink, red, you know. Obviously you can see this one has different colors. It's got black and red and white, and, you know, but I have all sorts of different colors that I'll put in the boxes. You know, they have patterns like this one's got butterflies. I call this like a fall leaf color, just a purple, whatever. And it's just quick and easy. And like I said before, I love the fact that now I don't have to wait to glue my box together. It's already glued. It's already one, you know, and now all I'm waiting for now is just for the edges to glue, and I can put my lid on. I'll put the other stuff in here that I want to do, and it's completely done. Once again, I'm Tran with the Burning Tree Productions. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial or whatever, and if you do like my content, subscribe. I feel kind of silly saying that stuff because I'm definitely not a social media person, but you know, I know that I have to do this stuff. I have to try and make what I can make, or make videos and stuff like that. And I like to show people, and if they come up with better ways of doing it, that's awesome. Anyway, have a good day. Bye.